Today, we are diving into the world of wine evaluation. Whether you are an aspiring sommelier or simply a wine enthusiast, this lesson will equip you with the techniques to properly evaluate and appreciate wine. So grab your glasses and let's get started. Wine characteristics. Why it is important to understand the characteristics of the wine? Because you will never be able to suggest a wine to a guest if you don't know what are the characteristics of this bottle. You will never be able to pair wine with food if you don't understand the characteristics of the wine and of course the food. So now we're going to go through this chapter and we're going to discuss the different characteristics of the wine so you have better understanding what wine, what kind of food matches well, because of course we're going to have a chapter where we discuss wine and food pairing. Now, every guest have their own preferences. Some guests like heavy body wine, some guests like very light body wine, some guests like heavy tannin wines, some guests hate tannin. Some guests like acidity and some guests absolutely don't want to hear about acidity in the wine. And that's why it's so important for you to distinguish. Every different bottle has a different level of acidity, different body, different level of tannin, and of course, sweetness. And you should be able to communicate that to your guest while they're choosing, the proper bottle of wine. The first characteristic we're going to discuss is body. Now, in many new studies, body is described like percentage of alcohol in the wine. If it's a 14%, that means a full body. 13%, that means your body. Under that, 12%, and everything else is a light body wine. That is far away from the truth. Body is much more complex characteristic, and alcohol level, of course, play a role in the body. The more alcohol, the more body, but as well the sweetness and the bitterness, the acidity, the intensity of the flavors, all those things determine the body of the wine. All right, so make sure that you are able to explain to the guest. Some guests wants to have a light body wine, and when they see the viscosity, they say, well, this is not a light body wine because they have too much viscosity. I like wines that I can see through them. All right, and that's also the case. The more see-through wines are, in the less body is, and with the more viscosity in the wine, and you're not seeing nothing through, then of course there is more body in the wine. You gotta understand that. You gotta distinguish that. You gotta be able to explain that to your guest. The next characteristic we're gonna discuss is tannin. A lot of people just hate bitterness in wine, and we need to understand that and be able to offer wines that have less tannin to those guests. Some guests, like me, love heavy, aged barrique wine with a lot of tannin, and then I go to the restaurant and I ask the waiter for a really heavy body barrique aged wine, and most of the waiters have no idea what I'm talking about, and they just bring me a red wine that is light and fruity and has nothing to do with my preferences and just upset me greatly. So don't be like that. Make sure that you understand when people tell you what they want, and then of course you are able to respond. If somebody says something like that and you have a glass of wine that matches this characteristic, it's a perfect opportunity for you to sell a bottle of wine, because you say to the guest, I'm sorry, sir, we have a red wine, but it's a light and fruity, has nothing to do with barrique aged wine. And so I will suggest that you probably try one of our bottle wines and so on and so. And that's perfect opportunity to sell and increase your check, increase your tip. Now, tannins, they come from the skin of the grape. The more the grape juice stays with the grape skin, the more tannin they have. Also, we can infuse tannin by aging the wine in barrique, in oaks. That aging process, the wine, sucked all the tannin from the wood, and it gets more heavy and more full body. So that's another way to increase the tannin levels in the wine. Now the tannin, this is the dry, pickery feeling in your mouth after you drink, heavy tannin red wine. White wines don't have tannins, or very little of tannin, so we don't discuss that. When we're talking about tannin, we're talking about red wines. Okay. The next one is acidity. Now, a lot of guys, a lot of ladies will tell you, I don't like wine acidity in the wine. But the truth is that wine without acidity is just a flat, and it's a terrible wine. We need to have the acidity in the wine so it's a really good wine. The problem is when it's not balanced. It has to be balanced. The acidity cannot flow and be the primary test of the wine. No, then it's a really sour wine. Nobody likes it. We need to explain to our guests that we have acidity, but it's well balanced, and there's a different type of acids. All right, tartaric acids, those are the ones that are found in bananas. Malic acids found in the apple. Citric acids, of course, in the citrus fruit, and there are some others, but those are the three primary acids found in wine, and they bring different flavors, different aromas into the wine. We should be able to distinguish that during the smelling or during the testing, and you have to be able to explain to the guest the importance of acidity, and of course what kind of acidity we have in this wine. The sweetness of the wine comes, of course, from the grape juice. There's a lot of sugar in the grape juice. During the fermentation process, this sugar is converted into alcohol, right? So it's up to the winemaker to determine how long the yeast will be left into the pot to eat this sugar and turn it into alcohol. And will we leave some sugar in the wine, or we will leave the yeast to eat the whole sugar and turn into a bone dry wine, right? So this is up to the winemakers to decide, and it's very, very important. In many fine dining restaurants, we have sommeliers that are responsible for suggesting wine to the guest, opening it, pouring it, and so on and so on. But in many fine dining restaurants, the waiters are responsible for the wine service. So when you open a bottle of wine, you should know how to test that bottle, that wine, and then of course pour it for your guest. And that's why we are going to discuss that. Even if you have a sommelier in the restaurant, sometimes sommeliers are very busy and they cannot get to your table. You cannot leave the guests waiting. You have to go there and take care of the wine, and then of course you have to show them that you know what you do. So testing the wine, there are three steps. The first thing is, once you open the wine, you pour a little sip in your glass and you look at it. While looking across the light, we are searching, we are observing the viscosity, the color, and the hue. All right. Now, the next step is smell the wine. The first thing we do is, after we look at the wine, is to take a quick sniff. Quick sniff determines the dominant aroma in the wine. Then we swirl the glass of wine in the glass. We swirl the glass so the wine releases all of its aromas, and then we take a deep, deep smell. All right? Deep smell. We are searching for aromas like fruit, like herbal, spice, oak, earth. Now, after you have determined the aromas of the wine, you take a little sip, you hold it in your mouth, you try even to get some more air in your mouth while you're holding the wine, and that's how you really release the full flavors, the full quality and characteristics of the wine. After you have smell tested the wine and you have determined that it's a high quality wine, you can say a couple of words about it to your guests and then, of course, pour it for them to enjoy. Our objective today is to introduce you to the techniques used in evaluating wine, including sight, smell, and taste. The first component of wine evaluation is sight. Pour a small amount of wine into your glass and take a close look. When we talk about evaluating the sight of wine, we are looking at its color, clarity, and viscosity. These visual characteristics can reveal valuable information about the wine's age, grape variety, production methods, quality, texture, and even alcohol content. Let's start with the color. The color of the wine can provide clues about its age and grape variety. For example, younger red wines tend to have a vibrant purplish hue, while older red wines tend to show more brick or garnet colors. White wines can range from pale straw or greenish tones in younger wines to deeper golden or amber shades in aged wines. By observing the color, you can make educated guess about the wine's maturity and potential flavor profile. Moving on to clarity. It serves as an indicator of quality. A clear wine generally suggests careful winemaking practices and proper filtration. On the other hand, a cloudy or hazy appearance may indicate a flaw or an issue with the wine, such as residual sediment or faulty production techniques. Assessing clarity helps us gauge the overall craftsmanship and attention to detail that went into making the wine. Finally, let's discuss viscosity. Viscosity refers to the texture or thickness of the wine, which can provide insights into its alcohol content and overall mouthfeel. Wines with higher alcohol levels tend to have a greater viscosity, leaving visible tears or legs that slowly drip down the glass after swirling. This can indicate a full-bodied wine with a richer texture. In contrast, wines with a lower alcohol content will appear lighter and less viscous. Evaluating viscosity can help us anticipate the wine's weight and mouth coating profiles. Remember, while these visual cues can offer valuable information about the wine, they are just the beginning of the evaluating process. The true essence of wine lies in its aromas and flavors. Now, let's delve into the captivating world of wine aromas and explore the second component of wine evaluation, smell. The sense of smell plays a crucial role in deciphering a wine's origin, grape variety, and production methods. By honing your ability to detect and interpret different aromas, you can uncover a wealth of information hidden within the glass. To begin, take a quick sniff of the wine upon pouring it into the glass. This initial impression is often referred to as the wine's aroma. Pay attention to the immediate scents that greet your nose. You may detect a range of fruity, floral, herbal, or even mineral notes. For example, in red wine, you might pick up aromas of ripe blackberries, cherries, or plums. White wines may exhibit scents of citrus fruits, green apples, or tropical nuances. These primary aromas give you a glimpse into the grape variety and the fruit characteristics of the wine. Now, give the glass a gentle swirl. This helps to aerate the wine and release more aromas, allowing them to evolve and become more pronounced. After swirling, take a deep, long sniff and explore the wine's bouquet. The bouquet refers to the complex layers of scents that arise from the wine beyond the initial fruity notes. Here, you might encounter secondary aromas that develop through the winemaking process. Oak aging can impart aromas of vanilla, caramel, or spices like a cinnamon or cloves. Extended bottle aging might lend intriguing hints of tobacco, leather, or earthiness. Each wine has its unique bouquet, offering a glimpse into its individual character and the choices made by the winemaker. When evaluating the smell of the wine, consider the intensity of the aromas. Some wines may have a subtle, delicate fragrance, while others may possess a more pronounced and robust bouquet. Intensity can be influenced by factors such as grape variety, winemaking techniques, and aging. The intensity of the aromas can provide insights into the wine's overall quality and age. As you become more familiar with different wines, you will develop the ability to identify and describe the various scents with greater precision. Remember, the world of wine aromas is vast and diverse. Practice and exposure to a wide range of wines will enhance your olfactory skills, allowing you to detect and appreciate the intricate nuances within each glass. In our next phase, we will move on to the final component of wine evaluation, taste. We will explore the flavors, textures, and balance that come alive on the palate. So let's continue our journey of discovering wine hidden treasures. Now we come to exciting moment of tasting the wine, where we bring all of our senses together to explore the flavors, textures, and balance that unfold on our palate. As you take that sip, allow the wine to coat your mouth and take note of the multitude of sensations it brings. First and foremost, focus on the flavors you experience. Wines can exhibit a vast array of flavors, ranging from fruits and florals to spices and earthy elements. Let's imagine you have a glass of red wine in front of you. Upon sipping, you may discover a symphony of flavors such as ripe blackberries, juicy cherries, and plums. These fruit notes provide a glimpse into the grape variety and its inherent characteristics. Additionally, you might detect hints of floral essence, such as violet or rose petals, adding complexity to the wine's profile. Spices like black pepper, cinnamon, or cloves can also grace the palate, contributing layers of intrigue. And for those earthy undertones, you might encounter nuances of leather, tobacco, or even a touch of the forest floor. Each wine has its unique combination of flavors, creating an adventure for the taste buds. As you continue your tasting journey, consider the wine's sweetness, acidity, tannins, and body. The sweetness levels can range from bone dry to off dry or even lusciously sweet, depending on the winemaking process and grape variety. The acidity of wine provides a refreshing and crisp sensation, balancing the sweetness and adding vibrancy to the overall taste experience. Tannins, mostly present in red wines, are responsible for dry, sometimes slightly bitter sensation that comes from the grape skins and seeds. These contribute to the wine's structure and can range from soft and velvety to bold and grippy. Finally, the body of the wine refers to its weight and texture in your mouth. Is it light-bodied and delicate, gliding effortlessly across your palate, or is it full-bodied and substantial, leaving a lingering presence? Pay attention to these elements as they contribute to the overall mouthfeel and enjoyment of the wine. As you continue your wine tasting journey, remember to include the evaluation of the finish in your assessment. Take note of the length, the flavors that linger, and the level of complexity. When evaluating the finish, pay attention to how long the flavors endure on your palate. Is it a brief moment, fading quickly, or does it linger gracefully, extending its presence? The length of the finish can vary from wine to wine, and it's often an indication of its quality and aging potential. A longer finish suggests a well-structured wine with layers of flavors that continue to evolve even after the initial sip. Flavors that remain Are you left with a subtle hint of bitterness, reminiscent of dark chocolate or espresso? Does a touch of saltiness tantalize your taste buds, adding a savory element? Or perhaps there's a delicate sweetness that lingers, leaving a delightful impression. These flavors can provide further insight into the wine's character and its interplay with other taste components. Complexity in the finish is often a sign of a well-crafted and thoughtfully made wine, inviting you to explore its nuances further. As the flavors persist, you might notice a dance of multiple elements, showcasing the wine's intricate layers and harmonious composition. It could be a symphony of fruit, spice, earthiness, each note playing its part in creating a captivating experience. The evaluation of the finish adds an extra dimension to our understanding of the wine. By considering its length, the specific flavors that endure, and the complexity of display, we gain a deeper appreciation for the wine's overall structure and its ability to captivate our senses. Remember, wine evaluation is subjective. Everyone's experiences and preferences may vary. Embrace your palate and continue to explore new wines to expand your knowledge. To further refine your wine evaluation skills, we encourage you to read, test, and engage in discussions with others passionate about wine. The more you practice, the more you will develop your own unique perspective and preferences. So keep exploring and enjoy the journey of discovering the world of wine.